scheduled board meeting of the Lake County School District 7. We will start with the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting.
Actually, we forgot 1.0, Mr. Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I'll switch those on your next agenda.
Yes.
I apologize. I copied the wrong agenda.
Oh,
That should be
so
2.0.
approval and amendment of in the agenda items.
Yes, Mr. Chair. We need to move under consent agenda 9.4 to the end after adjournment and add an executive session at the end. So 9.4 will come after that executive session. And then per our executive session today, we need to remove 9.5 and table that until the next meeting.
Okay.
We also have two late items we need to add. One is 12.2, and that's on the advanced math field trip, chaperone, and itinerary approval. That's with Mr. Brock. And then 12.3, Lake ESD library consultant and organ curriculum.
2.4, 40-foot flat.
Okay, we need a 12.4 on the seismic plaque placement.
Oh, God.
Okay. Any other additions, comments, deletions? We're good?
Stop it.
No more, yeah, take those up. Yeah, you put 3 things on it, I take 3 things.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
All right, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion. A second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Now we can look at the minutes.
We can approve it separately or all three in one motion.
Are we almost caught up, William?
Yes, but this was just what you did since our last board meeting. This is not catch-up. This is 2 budget meetings, or the budget meeting and then the 2 board meetings. We skipped that because on the 28th we had that little tiny meeting. We didn't do the minutes of the 14th.
Oh.
So no, the catch-up stuff is still coming. So you're doing 3 sets now. You'll probably do 2 or 3 sets next time.
I'll move that we approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of April 14th, regular board meeting of April 28th, and the budget meeting minutes of April 28th. I second.
So the motion's been made to approve the regular board meeting minutes of the 14th, April 14th, 28th, and the budget minutes of the 28th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right. 2.0 is kind of case.
Yes, we will fix that next time.
Yeah, I'm going to call the meeting to order now.
No, okay.
All right. 3.0.
We just did.
You got me all messed up here.
4.
Oh, yeah, we're at 4.
4, thanks. Sorry.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you have in your packet a invitation to the 77th Annual Spring Banquet, the Lakeview FFA chapter, to be held on May 21st, 2014, 6 o'clock p.m. at the LHS cafeteria. You are all invited to attend if you like.
Public comment. None? All right. Early items, ASB representative report. Okay.
So on May 2nd, most juniors and seniors went on a trip to Ashland for the Shakespeare Festival. We watched the campus there, and pretty sure everyone had a good time, so that's good. And then on the next day, on May 3rd, after a home track meet and a doubleheader for both baseball and softball, we had our prom, which was held at the gathering place, and our DJ was the sound band from Klamath, who brought over a laser light system. So it was kind of interesting and cool to have that there, make it fun. And after our track meet on that Saturday, our boys 4x1 relay is now first in state. So we have a chance to do some good things and hopefully bring back a championship. And a few others since then have increased their chances to win their own individual state championship and several other events. Like Lane Hadley is now first in state for the 100 meter. Delaney Hall is first in state for javelin. Pierce Schrader is third in state for pole vault. He could win state if he has a really good day at it, along with Miranda, who is third in state for shot. She also beats him. So that's always interesting to see, and hopefully we can come back with a bunch of trophies.
Do you hold the full one?
Yeah, Pierce Schrader's on it, Lane Hadley, Connor Lisney, and I'm also on it. So. And last month, a few of Lakeview's very young athletes participated in the OIT math competition. And we had a first place overall winner in one of the sections, which was a 10th grader, Caleb Andrews, and he won the geometry category. Last month we also had the art and music programs held their annual culture night on Thursday, April 24th at the gathering place, and that went very well also. So that's all I have for
Great.
Thank you.
Yep. And seniors are getting close to being done, so.
So how many more days?
I don't know how many schools exactly. Sorry.
I was gonna say.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. This.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Okay. All right, reports, the financial ADM report.
Okay, you have the estimate of revenue and expenditures. The first thing I did was on revenue on taxes current year. I looked at what was coming in, and as you can see in April, we only received $7,900, and originally, if you look back at last month, it was projected to receive about $53,000. So, and word is that tax collections are going to be low, they're slowing down, and I don't think they're going to reach a 92% average. So I cut estimated current taxes in May and June. We now know what we're going to be paid by the state in May for the final payment, which is $239,000. And it's higher than that, but $87,000 they're going to take from overpayment from last year. And there's another $26,000 in depreciation that has to go to Fund 410. So the net is $239,000 for our final payment. Bottom line is our predicted cash balance for June 30th is going to be $1,289,000, slightly higher than last month. But we still have May payroll and expenditures to contend with. Plus, we have 3 payrolls in June. So we're really not going to know what our ending fund balance is until the very last minute. But it's going to be probably around there. It's probably going to be less than that. And that brings us to estimate number 5 and 5A for next year's budget. Do they have both? They have both 5 and 5A?
You get only 5 acres.
We have 5A. But not 5.
Not 5? Well, 5 is still using the school support fund report that was dated February 28th. And I've made adjustments in what I thought would be our ending fund balance, as you can see in red on 5A. But 5, estimate number 5, after I've made all my adjustments, that gave us $53,000 more in revenue than what we are budgeting for expenditures in Fund 100. It's not a very large margin, especially when we don't know what the outcome will be by the end of June. And then so 5A, I updated that with the new school support fund report from the state, which was $3,955,000. But from that, I took the difference between the first estimate and the new estimate, which was $68,000 difference. Divided that in half, and then subtracted that from the new report to give myself a margin. And then plus I also subtracted $3,000 for the mandatory lunch match, and I'm estimating we're going to have $25,000 overpayment this year. And of course, the depreciation will jump up to about $36,000 if you give me the bus. Bottom line is, by doing that and using April's estimated ending cash balance of $1,289,000, we now have an excess of $87,000 in revenue over the budget committee's approved budget of $8,240,000. That's still, to me, not a very good margin. There's a lot of unknowns that we face right now. Let's see if I can find them here. Right now, we really don't know what our federal grants are going to be. Title IIA is going to be, I was told this afternoon on a webinar, to expect at least 5% less than we were getting this year. They're also encouraging districts to spend that money on highly qualified professional development and CCSS training, rather than a position that helps kids in the classroom. We can still do that, but they're pushing other districts to do that, and they may try to push us to do that as well. We know that Title IA is skinny, and that sooner or later we might have to pick up a partial FTE Fund 100. Our school support fund reports were changing almost daily there. I'm in version 4 now as far as what our final payment will be. But version 4 is supposedly in concrete now. Usually our school support fund reports, what they tell us a year ago, like this fiscal year, a year ago they told us what we're going to get paid. Well, as it comes down to it, the final payment that they're telling us now for this year is $26,000 less than what they originally told us. And that's kind of the norm. They always start high, and by the end of the year, it's always a little less than what they actually pay us. Local revenue may be down. Local tax collections are slowing down. We may not, and I mentioned this before, we may not reach the average 92% of the assessed value. Right now, we're at 90%, and it would take quite a lot of money to get us up to 92 in the next 2 months. Negotiations aren't completed yet. Fund 100's ending fund balance, like I mentioned before, has not been determined. We still have May payroll and 3 payrolls in June. The state and national economy doesn't look favorable. More people are leaving the workforce, 800,000 in April alone, which means less people are paying taxes. Electrical rates are scheduled to increase dramatically by or in the year 2015 due to new EPA regulations to be announced in June. And of course, the Sagebrush plan will have negative consequences on our local economy. So there's a lot of unknowns, and that's just a partial list. I mean, I could go on and on probably, but $87,000 right now is not a very good margin, considering what we're faced with in the future. So, at the budget hearing, when's that? A couple of weeks from now. I will be recommending the status quo, leave it where it's at. There will be some changes in the special revenue fund, but other than that, Fund 100 I would consider status quo way to work. Budget committee is pretty good.
So we shouldn't feel overly optimistic of new money. We should feel somewhat pessimistic. Okay. Well, it's not so bad. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to our written building reports.
Building principal's here to answer any questions, Mr. Chair.
There's only one parent on our site council.
Which site council is referring to?
Yours.
For now, we're gonna get another one on there. Try to have one for each building. This particular parent represents Fremont.
Any other questions, comments? All right.
I have one question. After the textbook adoption and everything, have you heard any feedback as to how everybody feels about that? All schools, and are they happy with how that all went?
They're overjoyed and appreciative. So, I would to assess their feelings to you folks on board, it would be a great big thank you. So,
So I felt like that was helpful.
yeah.
Okay. Budget discussion and update.
Mr. Chair, we already have that.
That's what I thought.
We combined 7-1 and 7-3.
I wanted to drag us through that again.
No.
All right, soccer field update.
Mr. Chair, I do believe Mr. Anderson has an update. We have a drawing up here on the overhead. Mr. Anderson, if you wouldn't mind hitting one of those lights, it might be a little easier for people to see.
Better?
Yeah.
We've got some work done on the soccer field. We've done some topography down there and some design. Got it pretty well laid out. We allowed enough room for the proposed solar development on the left, which is crosshatched. The soccer field sitting between the intersection of First Street and L Street there. We are going to have to excavate quite a fair amount on the north end of the field and bring the soil down to the south end of the field, or to the bottom there, in order to have keep the soccer field on grade. We'll have drainage tied into a storm drain that's there. We did have to outline a small area to the left of the soccer field. The regulations required a certain area for the coaches and stuff to stay there, so we're going to squish it up just a little bit than what we met the other day with the administrators, but we're still within that maximum. So, really, it should be set to go. We're going to. I haven't got any costs back on the irrigation system yet. Hopefully we can do some work with them this spring and just get some things started.
So how far off grade is it right now?
Well, there's a, did you get that other one?
Yep.
There's a little section at the, kind of at the north end of the field. If you go over to the right, that side, you see the sidewalk. And we got a couple steps to get it stepped down to the north end of the field. So, that's approximately 2 feet lower than the sidewalk.
Oh.
So it'll actually be a little little swale there, just to the right of where it says the field edge. That'll run into the storm drain. So that'll help match the street too, in keeping the balls and things out of there a little bit. Spectators are probably set on there. But anyway, unless we imported a lot of dirt, that was the easiest way to get it off the field site. We do have it crowned in the middle. I did look at it trying to, yeah, you can see the middle's higher there. I'm trying to shed it, slope it all one way, but I don't think that was going to work out very well. Soccer balls roll around, you know, so. Anyway, we should be able to balance all our earthwork there. Not spend a whole lot of money on excavation. We did leave some room for bleachers there. I don't know, we don't have those in the plans right now, but if those are needed in the future, that can be something else. From what I'm hearing from everybody, you really don't need bleachers at soccer games. So they're a standard requirement.
Where are we at fundraising?
Well, we have about $15,000 that was raised. I expect another 10 in the Goose Chase. I'm sure you buy lots of tickets. I do know the soccer group, the youth soccer group, applies for some more funding to the soccer with their annual project. I don't know where that's at. We have an application into the local community foundation. We were asked to apply for that, $200,000, but $50 cents is a lot of money for what happened. So I think we're, if we can get some donated work done, especially on the earthwork movement. The big item is sod for the field, which is about $25,000, which I'm hoping we can use the rotary funds for that. We'll have about that much. So, and sod's expensive.
Do you have a start date,
Start date, I don't.
end date?
New date?
Not after they start.
Definitely do the order.
Well, maybe we'll have more information earlier.
I thought I saw completion date on something.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't think that happened. Stephanie's gonna hold our feet to the fire. We'd like to play with it on the fall. I don't know if we made it really good or not. We might make it.
He's got his witch ball. It's kind of like the reader board thing. He said basketball season, he has a witch ball.
Oh, does the 15 include the Lions option?
Excuse me?
Does the 15,000 include the Lions option?
No,
I don't think the Lions contributed it.
Oh, that was the pool.
I think the money went to the pool.
Wrong record.
The next year, this coming year, if there's community support for Lions to help out on the soccer field, please tell the Lions Club that you would like them to fundraise for the soccer field. That's the way I'll present it. You might pitch it to a Lion that you might know.
Anyway, we're on.
All right.
And also a little trivet there, you should go up and look at the pool. The project is nearly completed.
Old business. Advanced diploma MOU approval.
Yes, Mr. Chair, what you see in front of you is simply a memo outlining different areas that we pretty much come to agreement with. We're running against a time clock. So I'm going to ask the board tonight to approve the memo that's in front of them. Luann, do they have a hard copy of this
Yes, the
memo?
hard copy is in your paperwork, you guys, right behind Mr. Getty's financial documents. It should be, not in your stapled one, it should be individual. Do you not have it?
Yep.
Got it?
So, I thought we had a tentative agreement with KCC. It went up the chain to the vice president's desk, and it kind of got stuck there. And then it came back with a whole bunch of stuff that I had never discussed or even seen before. So I'm still working through that process. But for us to move forward with this for next year, we do need the board to tentatively approve that we're going to be participating in this for next year. Because Ms. Chavez, Mr. Prock, Mr. Hamilton, they need time to work with any students that might be interested in this. Because keep in mind, once a student goes across the stage and we hand them that diploma, then we're done, and there's no turning back the clock. This way, we would at least have that option. There might be a student or two that would choose to participate. And again, they can still wait until next fall before making the final determination. One of the things that we did negotiate in this agreement is a 3-week point of no return. It was a 1-week point of no return with Klamath County and Klamath City School District, and that was just not working well for those school districts because sometimes it's hard for kids, to get acclimated and to know whether they're committing or not. And so we didn't want to be stuck with a student that drops a week in one day and suddenly having to pay that full amount of tuition. And so we negotiated that 3 weeks. I think you can kind of read through all the attributes there. I'm saying at a minimum that we can participate with up to 36 credits being paid for tuition and books right now. It could be more based upon the final numbers I get from KCC on the funding structure and things of that nature. So we'll have to see if that stays at 36 or not. I know that Klamath County and Klamath City, I think they agreed to 39 this year, and I think they're looking at increasing theirs. But the big variable, the monkey in the room, is the cost of the textbooks. And that was another aspect why I was able to negotiate with KCC, is that we do not have to buy the textbooks through their bookstore. If that's the best option, fine, yeah, no issue there. But there are becoming lots of organizations out there. You can rent textbooks, you can buy used textbooks, and so we'd certainly be looking at that. And that might also, if we can keep those textbook costs down, we might be able to put those extra dollars back towards tuition or additional credits. But 36 credits for a full year, being essentially free for a student, that is still considered a full load at 12 credits per term. And that still is quite a gift. And so I'm recommending that the board approve this with these characteristics tonight. I'm still working through the MOU process. I'll bring back a tentative agreement as soon as I can, hopefully at the next board meeting that we have. For final approval, I do want legal counsel to look at it one more time. We've already reviewed it, and they said, yeah, it looks good on a lot of those. You got your standard indemnity clauses and things like that that are usually in every MOU. And our initial look see at those is those look fine. So I'm feeling very confident that we're in the final stages of finalizing the negotiations.
Any other questions or some discussion?
Do we have any students right now that you want to have in mind for this? Like,
We really haven't, we've kind of waited for board approval before we move forward. We've had discussions ourselves on identifying some kids and some families and wish to meet with those families. It's a big decision to make in a short time. So we want to give them all the information available before graduation.
And I don't remember, I think we talked about this before, so if the student decides to participate, they don't they aren't in the graduation ceremony at all? or-
No, they
still are,
participate,
okay,
yes.
okay.
They just don't get a
their
diploma, they don't get a
Okay, I
diploma.
couldn't remember.
We will hand them the outside of the diploma,
Absolutely.
just the inside will be blank piece of
Get a
paper.
rain check.
Okay.
Can you talk about
Was
where
that
they have
quick?
to stay
Right, yeah,
sway?
no.
Good question. Stephanie just asked about, do they have to stay in Lakewood? The answer is yes, they do. And the reason is the funding for the state of how that works, and they have to stay living within our district boundaries, just like any other K-12 student, or else we don't get the funding. Now, if they chose to move to Klamath, and if Klamath County or Klamath City School District picked them up, then that would be their choice, and they can have to broker that on their
That's
own.
another negotiation.
I have not talked with those two districts about even that possibility, so I don't know how they're.
That's if they move to Cleveland.
Mhm.
But if they enrolled in the class and chose to go or take it there, can they still, it's still part of the KCC system, right? So they can take a class there. It doesn't have to be at the Learning Center,
Correct.
but they have to, they're resident, they have to reside.
They would have to reside here, which means they live here,
Right. But if they chose to
Yeah.
drive over there
They
a
want
couple
to.
days a week,
yeah.
that's an option.
It's important to note that KCC did approve their budget to establish a second high-speed video conferencing classroom at the ILC here. And so that second lecture room will become a video conferencing classroom, which will essentially double the amount of curriculum available for students, as well as you have your plethora of online also available. So it'd be quite the commitment to have somebody drive every day over to Klamath, but yeah, as long as they maintain residency here and follow state law in terms of living here, they could, but they also have a minimum number of credits they have to enroll in, and that's 9 per term, and that's quite
That's
low.
what we're at.
Right.
Are they gonna need an additional lecture room, or can you make that into a video conference room? Do you have
I
restrictions
don't
on
think
site?
they've gone through that level planning yet. The board meeting tomorrow for KCC Lake County, and one of the topics we'll be discussing.
I move we approve this tentative MOU for the ADP, how's that, with KCC, Carol? That's your form. I will second.
All right, it's been, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the ADP MOU with KCC. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. The solar project funding update.
Yes, Mr. Chair, just a very quick update. I got an email from Todd Gregory, I think last week. Apparently there's been some delay in the announcement of the grant funds. But the initial conversations with the grantors and Mr. Gregory was that once the announcements are made, that we will like the outcome. So I think that's an early indication as to the possibility of being receiving that grant for the solar project. When they'll make that official announcement, don't know. He doesn't have any timelines connected with that. We're just gonna have to wait and see. And being this late in the process, it's not gonna happen this summer. It's gonna have to be delayed for a year.
Right?
All right, consent agenda. We have either a motion to approve the consent agenda, or we can have a discussion on any of the items that are there. We did move the head teacher to exec session, and move the attorney contract.
I'll move we approve the consent agenda with the removal of 9.4 and 9.5.
I second this question.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda with the removal of 9.4 and 9.5. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Great.
I just have a comment. Our building use fees, are they reasonable?
Mr. Getty?
Mr. Getty?
Right.
Can you phrase your question again?
Our building use fees and whatnot, are they reasonable for the amount of time and effort and stuff we have to put into it?
Well, with the new lighting and everything, if I recall, a single room use is $5 for 4 hours, which I think is
So what's it, $75 for the cyclist to use the facility?
50 for the auditorium, and what they charge. I was using the generator pump water and policy.
Showers.
Showers 25. $2 per gallon.
I don't know, have we reviewed those in a long time?
It's been 4 or 5 years since we reviewed it. Would you like to bring it back for review?
It's page 35, Mr. Gray.
We can do that.
How much?
It's page 35.
$75 now.
Well, that's what the current fee is right now. But
Rental fee is-
they're gonna be using the up, they're not gonna be using the down, they're gonna be using the upper mezzanine. And the lighting up there is a lot cheaper than what it is out in the clear out. Well, and then 25 of it is key deposit, that's refundable, so it's $50.
I think the last time we reviewed this, the discussion with the board, it was, we just wanted to find a way to recoup our costs, not necessarily make revenue stream. Yeah, lighting costs have gone down because of our lighting retrofit, but labor costs continue to rise like custodial and things of that nature, so we can take a look at that.
I believe I charged the US Forest Service $100 a day when they have showers, when they use no shower.
Oh, charge them $100?
But that's when they were burning diesel fuel to heat their water, but now we don't have to.
Oh, okay.
Do they use our expensive towels?
Yeah, I charge you $2 per hour.
We make up our towel fee.
There's our answer right there, so just rent towels.
Oh, yeah. Or we give paper towels.
Just one,
So,
two or two.
You know how to spend towels?
Yeah, I don't know about them, I just.
Mr. Chair, we can either entertain a motion and a second and approval to reevaluate this building use fees policy now, or you can roll it into the discussion at the end in terms of next agenda. However you want to do it.
Yeah, next agenda.
All right, so we will roll it into the next agenda item discussion. But this one's approved as is?
Yeah.
All right, new business. Confidential staff retirement resignation approval.
Yes, Mr. Chair, it is with distinct honor, respect, and regrets that I bring to you a letter of resignation from Mr. Getty, our business manager. He is requesting that he's able to retire on July 1st, 2014. But he's also requesting that he is able to continue employment on a temporary basis for the months of July and August. Kind of helps us with cleaning up the current fiscal year, the transition, getting us through the audit, those sorts of things. Mr. Getty's been with us for 28 years.
Yeah, August 1st would be 28 years of death.
I know that if the board approves this tonight, I'll certainly be missing him. He's been a huge part of the formation of this district, as well as moving along, moving it forward, and keeping it safe and secure financially.
So we should give you congratulations.
Yeah, I learned a lot. And every day you learn something new in my position. Some of the stuff you don't know, but you learn.
What have we done?
Then you have to come down to the office and deal with it every day.
You've continued to plan.
I, for one, appreciate your leadership in this. We get outstanding reports from our auditors every year, and it's because of the job you do, so. I'm not certain we'll have big shoes to try and fill. So it's with regret. but also congratulations, it's quite a career.
Thank you.
We'll be able to call you about asbestos.
Yeah, you can until the new guy gets trained. And don't put it off either.
Pest management.
Yeah.
We already got somebody.
You probably miss that the most.
So did I hear a motion?
Regretfully,
So the motion's been made. Motion's been made and seconded with regrets, but congratulations to approve your resignation letter. I think it goes without saying, but he said anyway, we appreciate your years of service, and I think that we will make sure that it goes on in the appropriate way. But it's with confidence that we've sat up here and had you present the budget and our financials, and have known that you've been in good hands, so we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Rebecca, did you second that? It was so quiet.
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
Pretend that.
The motion was made and seconded.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure she was my second.
Say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now, confidential hiring package approval.
Yes, Mr. Chair. What you see in front of you is my attempt to kind of highlight us moving forward and finding Mr. Getty's replacement. So
Couldn't even put anything in between it, I mean, just.
Very recent retirement, Mr. Getty.
It's official, it's official.
I anticipated. So, I think you see the data in front of you. Also, there is an attached sheet showing comparison districts. I've highlighted the ones that are probably the closest to our size in yellow, and they're relevant pay scales. I've updated the job description. I think in terms of timeline, we're looking at advertising the position May 12th to June 13th. Probably screening applications June 16th or 17th. I would like a board member or two to help screen if you would like to be involved in that. Check references June 18th to 20. I can certainly use some help with board members if you would like. And then interviews, we're looking at June 23rd, 24th, and 25th if need be. And I most certainly would like to have some board members involved, at least in the interviews. In terms of a start date, I left it negotiable. And the reason is, if our number one pick happens to be a current business manager in another district, most of the contracts will end June 30th. And therefore they would want to start soon after. If it's somebody that you bring out of the private economy or a job setting where the contract doesn't end on June 30th, that gives you a little bit of time for flexibility. It may depend on who this person is, their level of experience, familiarity. I'm going to want some cross-training time with Mr. Getty before he concludes by the end of August. You know, that kind of gives us some flexibility there to negotiate that with the new person. Scope of advertising, I left one indication out there as the local papers in Lake Deschutes, Plano, and Modoc County. We're probably going to put the job listing on EDSAP, by the Oregon Employment Department, and for a national exposure, probably put a quick ad in education, because you never know who or what you might pick up from that publication. To be able to advertise this, I'm going to need an approval on this or amendment to what I'm recommending here in any capacity. All these things don't go into the advertising, by the way. I mean, I'm just kind of looking down the road. If there's further discussion that you want to have on the salary range, We could table that piece, we could just simply advertise it as competitive salary, to be negotiated based upon experience, put it that way. It should be right after business manager job description, which is page,
So go down. No, that's pretty good, so it's.
I can't tell what page it is, because there's so many pages.
Range and then below.
Oh, I thought there was some.
Oh,
Plus
see
something.
attached OSBA COSA 2013 salary.
Yeah.
data.
It looks like this, yellow,
Is it online?
Louisiana.
Yeah.
I'm looking, it's page 47, I think, on it.
There.
Yeah.
Is it show on here?
Well, I've got page 45, 47, and 48 all on the same one, so.
Yeah, you got the wrong thing.
We found it.
Yeah.
Okay, you're
Okay.
good.
Ah. Well, what's your experience? Is it helpful to have a salary range in the ad, or?
That's, I looked at a lot of ads for business managers open throughout the nation, and most of them have a salary range. It's pretty standard.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we go with that. At least that means kind of have an idea as to what they're coming into. Okay.
So general consensus to accept that. Leave salary range in, 40, I think it is 63. No,
Are you looking at the
salary
middle?
range is 60.
There it is.
Right, it's in the middle.
That was just an assessment of that sheet. below.
Got it.
Yeah, the current salary range across the state is that range.
Right.
I make a motion that we move forward on this business manager hiring. It's outlined in the
So the motion would be to approve the confidential hiring package with the position advertisement timeline, the salary schedule, and the job description update. For the second.
Awesome.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve what I just said. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We'll move forward with that one. 10-3, confidential staff hire approval.
Yes, Mr. Chair, after a lengthy application, interview, and selection process, we are recommending that Ms. Alana, who I am known,
Shamlack.
thank you, as our new district office confidential receptionist position.
Okay.
I move we approve the hire of Colleen.
I'd like to add to the motion, for consideration. I think it's always a good idea to have the step D in what we're doing the motion.
Step
Oh, in the motion
Yeah.
itself.
Oh.
Step B.
Yeah,
I was still reading.
has the salary or the pay and the step in the salary grade. Then there's no confusion in the future.
Sure.
So the amended motion would be the approval of Ms. Shamlack at the step B, 14.33 per hour, based upon their experience.
Sean's recommendation, but that's fine.
a second, all right, motion's been made and seconded to approve the hiring. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right,
So a quick question though. How did this Wisconsin person come to our attentions?
She was currently working at the DA's office here.
Here, in town?
Mhm, in town. Yeah, she's been here for
2 years.
2 years.
Oh.
okay.
Why she came from Wisconsin.
No.
All right,
How's
Jim-
someone from Wisconsin
Jim-
landed in Lincoln?
Jim Floor, ESY, that's the extended school year staff hire approval.
Yes, Mr. Chair, every summer we always have a number of IEP students that need some extended year school services. That is formulated in their IEPs. And this is probably not the last hire you'll see for this, because I think, Lonnie, what, we have 4 or 5 students that need services this year?
We have 4.
4. And so Ms. Anderson has done this for us in the past, over in the Plush area. And we're recommending her rehire for the summer for the ESY services. Lonnie, anything to add?
She does a great job. She always gives us a really good evaluation, and I feel very lucky we have her out there to help us with this.
Can we see a motion to
I'll make a
approve?
motion that we accept the ESY recommendation as presented for 48 hours. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the ESY staff hire. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. 10-5, new bus purchase recommendation.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we're recommending that the board simply approve district administration to create a recommendation to purchase a new large passenger bus during the 14-15 school year. A number of reasons for that: aging fleet. I think you can see the number of buses and their age there. We do have some serious ADA requirements we need to fulfill, particularly with the wheelchair lift. Our current wheelchair lift is inoperable and attached to one of our very old buses. In fact, it's the bus that we want to move out of the herd. Also efficiency, valuable resources, reliability, safety, and we also have the dollars in the account allocated for transportation.
So we've been saving up.
There's currently $265,000 in the account, and, you know, we don't have a quote yet. That's what we would be moving to get, but our last bus purchase was what, 129, 130?
6 years ago.
No, the last one, bus
Number
number 2.
Oh, number 2.
Yeah, I
Gee.
think it's about
What's
129,
last? Yeah.
somewhere in there.
And this is money.
Last year, 12, 13.
Yeah. So this is money that's already been transferred into the transportation
Can't
fund.
just spend money.
We cannot bring it back out, it's for transportation.
Are we using the same company and same kind of bus that,
Western Bus, yeah, same bus, we're staying away from international.
so it's a different kind of bus than the one that's been in the shop for a year?
It's the same model, but we're going to a smaller engine, to an ISB 280 horsepower, rather than the 400 and some odd horsepower engine we have now, which has some problems.
What we're finding, Mr. Getty's been trying to sleuth this out for us, is, yeah, the brand new bus we purchased has had a lot of shop hours. One of the issues, there seems to be some design flaws in the reburner of the exhaust system with this particular exhaust system and engine type model. And they're seeing this trend across the state. And so Mr. Getty's been talking with a lot of mechanics, and he has another design in mind that seems to be not having these issues.
Yeah, the smaller engine doesn't have the issue. In fact, Western Bus has had a mechanic in here all day, he's gonna be here tomorrow too, working on it. Because it's under warranty. And I called him up and said, you don't get that.
Yeah.
So now the new bus you're thinking is gonna be through you? Through Western?
Yeah, Western Bus there.
Western Bus Sales is just simply the outfit we use to broker the sale.
It's not natural.
Because of the two buses we purchased 6 years ago, which were both internationals, we have had a rash of problems with those. And so, but Mike is also saying, we're trying to stay away from the international because of all the issues we have with those. Yeah, we've had issues with the brand new one, which is Bluebird, but it's been better than what we experienced with the others. Bottom line, a quality control problem.
Are there any other options? I mean,
Well, there's other brands out there like Thomas Bus and a few others. Because Western Bus has always been excellent when it comes to one door. International has been a pain. Even our local contractors that get our bus in complain about international being tight-lipped and not giving information, just being uncooperative. But with our new position, our new mechanic position, we should be able to keep up the newer buses. No problem.
And we won't be purchasing this before July 1st is when he officially starts, so I'll certainly want his eyeball on this too.
This is just a recommendation to pursue.
To pursue,
That you'll bring back to us and we can sleep out and more
Correct.
questions of.
Yeah, we should put it on order as soon as possible. That way, you might be here in time in September with the wheelchair, so we can meet our ADA requirements. We need to do it as soon as we can.
so this is the actual purchase recommendation? Isn't that it?
no,
No.
no. This is a recommendation just for the board to approve that we pursue a bid and bring back some bids for you to take a look at. So this is not the actual purchase.
I'm so moved.
Thank you.
This will help greatly in replacing future buses, because your depreciation is going to increase approximately $9,000. In 2 years, you'd have $72,000 that you don't have to come up with. And then the third bus would bring it up another, and then pretty soon we'd be on the level to where it's not going to be a drain on the general fund, and you'll have that depreciation constantly flowing in through the transportation bill from the state.
So the motion's been made to approve the recommendation in a second. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the bus purchase recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. 10-6, the AVID, advanced via individual determination. I hate to admit this, but my arm's not getting it. You need bigger players in front.
Advancement via individual determination.
Determination recommendation.
Yes, Mr. Chair, this has been something we've been working on this year that kind of appeared around January. For instance, last year we sent the majority of our students on to college. But what about the ones that still stay behind? There's a lot of initiatives with 40-40-20, moving more towards a college training environment, recognizing college doesn't mean Stanford or Harvard necessarily. It could mean, any kind of additional post-secondary training, career aspects to that. AVID is a program that I saw presented in Salem, I do believe in December or January. I brought the idea back from Mr. Crock, Mr. Hamilton, Ms. Chavez. They've done further investigation, and they're actually here to make a proposal to you tonight about this really exciting program. So I'm going to kind of turn it over to them to kind of explain what are the aspects of AVID, why would we be bringing this to you tonight for recommendation, and where does possible funding come from, and why we feel this is so important for our students. So, Mr. Crock, you want to start us out?
Sure. April 24th, I had the pleasure of visiting Fairmont Middle School along with a team of folks from our school. AVID is in the Boise School District at every middle school, high school, at all of their schools. It started in Fairmont Middle School 8 years ago in one classroom and has grown to be a district-wide program. I'm going to let Mr. Hamilton and Mrs. Harris kind of talk about the site visit, and I have a handout that talks about costs and implementation.
So, AVID, the advancement via individual determination thing is just, it's a program that's gonna identify kids that are at risk. It's not an at-risk program. The criteria to identifying these kids are the kids that aren't gonna typically go to college. They're the low-income kids, single-parent family. They're not at-risk kids necessarily at all. They could be getting very good grades. And it's a college readiness thing. It's gonna focus on leadership, systems, instruction, and culture. One thing that they stressed to us, and we got to sit in on the classes, and the stuff that we were able to see these middle school kids do was just absolutely remarkable. It is not a study hall. It was, we sat in the classroom and we watched these kids at work, and it was just absolutely amazing the stuff that they were doing. And it was, you know, if we could get it going, it would be, you know, with our small population, it would be one class, really. You know, we started out as the 7th grade. In the 7th grade, the incoming 6th graders, it'd be one class. We're hoping that it'd be around 20 kids, so it's about a third of our population in that grade. But the school culture, the school environment, when you walk into that school, that's the first thing you see. It's AVID everywhere. It's all about college. Everybody's going to college readiness. And it's structured that it has a full curriculum. So the way it would work is a kid would sign up, it's optional. Kid would sign up, there's a selection process. And there's some criteria, and they go through interviews, the whole deal, and they select kids. They get into the program, it serves as in one of their electives. So it's the teacher that'd be teaching is our AVID elect teacher. And it's a year-long elective, and they go in and it's a full curriculum. It's not a study hall. That's the biggest thing that it's 3 days a week of the curriculum and 2 days of tutorials. Now the tutorials in Boise, they brought in students from Boise State as their tutors. And that was the day that we got to go. They're presenting their homework. The system that they have, very rigorous, a kid can't get in it and not be a hard worker. They have to really above and beyond. And AVID recommends that each kid in the program is in one accelerated class. At Fairmont, they push for 3 accelerated classes. And so it's your kids that maybe typically wouldn't be in an advanced class or an accelerated class because they don't have the resources and the extra support, where if they're an AVID, they do. It was pretty remarkable to see. You know, we had a group of 7 middle schoolers, and I'm sure you guys all know, you know, with 15 adults sitting in desks watching these kids. Middle schoolers that I know aren't real excited about talking to these adults, and they did a little Q&A, and it was pretty impressive what those kids were able to do. They focus on some social stuff. As far as the culture goes and building that college-going culture. And, you know, here in Lakeview, we have a pretty good culture, but there is that little group of students that don't go. And I think, you know, we can identify those, and I'll let Brandy talk a little bit about that. She's already kind of looked at some lists of kids coming in, 6th graders, and identified some of those that would potentially benefit greatly from a program like this. And, you know, our hope is that we start in the 7th grade with one class, and they continue in AVID from 7th grade until they graduate. And the next year, we go on with that group in 8th grade, and then we have another 7th grade AVID class. And then a 9th grade group, and so on. So that cycle continues until ultimately we have an AVID elect for every grade level. And again, you know, your professional development revolves around AVID. So it's not just the AVID elect teacher who's doing this. It's the whole school. It's a school-wide culture focusing on Common Core, focusing on rigor. So just everything about it really lends itself to, as Sean said, the 40-40-20 goals, that college college-going readiness culture. So, Brandy, you wanna?
Well, I think we have a really good foundation in our school district to be successful at AVID. I mean, our high school programs, our scholarship opportunities, we have great things. I mean, people want to come to Lakeview because of those things. And this changes middle school kids from saying, I want to go to college, or maybe that I am going to college. When you talk to a kid in AVID, I'm going to college. There's no question about it. And it's a program that has admiration. Kids want to be in it. It's not like, oh, you're an AVID. It's like, no, I want to be an AVID. And so maybe that first year of going into 7th grade, some kids maybe didn't get in, they can reapply their 8th grade year. So each year you can have some of that transition. Some of them will exit out because they no longer need that support and they're on that track that they need to be. So there's that part that goes with it. But I really think the piece is that individual determination. You're taking kids that want to work hard in the classroom and they're working hard. They just don't know how to access all this stuff. Everybody talks about college, but what do I need to get there? They teach them how to take notes, how to use their notes to study, how to make these things. These big things that are going to have them be successful in high school and in college. It's this whole step process. I mean, it's incredible. And when they're talking about these kids talking to you, it's great eye contact, and and they consider it their family. So you take kids that maybe their parents were college bound, right? But they have those skills, they want to get there, but they don't have that own family to support them. What's a FAFSA? How do you even, talk about that? And this provides them with that atmosphere, that family support socially at a really hard time in middle school, right? In order to get that support and be successful at. I think that we do, looking at our classes, looking at our families, we have kids that would definitely benefit, would definitely fit into the criteria that AVID requests. I think that's they have open houses, so they invite the families, the kids, and it's an application, you work with your 6th grade teachers. We already have that foundation. Our communication at our school is already there. Our transitions up from middle school to high school are already there. What we have going into scholarships are already there. This system would really just fit in helping even more kids going up into college and being successful at college.
One small example of kind of the culture throughout the school is AVID is a Cornell note-taking system. So all the AVID kids are taught how to take Cornell notes. Well, every teacher at that school teaches that Cornell note-taking. So it's a strategy that is maybe started with the AVID class, but it's impacted school-wide now. And kids just know. I wish I would have known that going. Had some of those skills going into college. So it was pretty. I've seen a lot of programs and stuff, and this is one that I was thoroughly impressed with. From getting to see the kids firsthand and what they did, and then the tutorial days. Where you bring the tutors in. They put them in groups, and they're supposed to come up, and there's a form that they have to fill out, a very in-depth form that they have to fill out on their homework. That they're going to present their homework basically. They have to come in and they got to present a question from their homework, something they didn't understand. 80% of the questions that they present were math questions. So, and just watching those kids walk up, they came into the classroom. We were in there at the beginning. They came into the classroom. They sat in their groups. The one kid went straight to the whiteboard and he started presenting his homework. The tutor is sitting there, but the kids are the ones talking. They're the ones doing all the talking and helping them figure out the problem. And when they're done with the form, front and back, they turn it in. It's quite a process to see the kids presenting, and it really, one of the biggest things I think it does, and it says it right here, is where was it? It really promotes the higher level thinking that we all want to see, and that we're moving towards with the smarter balance and the Common Core and all that stuff. So it's just it's a pretty impressive program.
I just have 2 more things. The other piece that we still have is the online grading, which they use. So with their AVID teacher, they're constantly checking in and looking at our grades. We already have that in place, which is another huge piece. The other piece is, we constantly tell kids, get involved, right? Get connected to something because you're more successful in school when you're connected. This is a way. Their connection to their AVID teacher is unreal. It's like a connection with a coach. They don't want to disappoint their AVID teacher. That relationship is very important. It allows, it's different just than a classroom teacher because you're working on those different things. Yes, you have that curriculum, but a lot of the kids, that was their biggest thing is, man, when it's grade check day, I didn't want to let, my teacher down. I didn't want him to be disappointed in me. And so it's that connection that we want from our kids to get involved and stay connected to school to be successful.
Another question then. The first one is, who would we use our resources for, our tutors, for like the tutor days?
We had a lot of ideas. We thought for the first year, community volunteers, they pay their tutors like $10.50 an hour. And like Jesse said, they use Boise State for students. I think we have a talented community with folks. We also have, untapped potential at KCC with work-study students. We could tap into that. I think it's the backbone of the program is the tutorials, but we feel confident especially for the first 2 years, we could get 3 really high caliber tutors in there to help support those kids.
And then we obviously would need to have a dynamic teacher that could really engage and do that and really start that off.
That was our conversation driving home. Of course, you could see how excited we were, and so we immediately were talking staff and who could do that, and we have some great people in our building, and so we've talked to some and identified some, but this is the cost projection, and it's a 3-year commitment. The district coordinator training. We are in discussions with High Desert ESD to have that provided for us. We would not be responsible for having a district coordinator. They are in the middle of, their ESD received the Eastern Oregon Promise grant, and they're applying that money into their AVID. Ben LaPine, Redmond will all be AVID districts. They don't know if they're ready to go online. They're having, a much larger district and in the process of identifying folks. They don't know if they're ready to go for next school year. So we're still in discussions with the AVID folks on who we can use as that district coordinator person if we decided to go forward with AVID next year. It doesn't make much sense for a district our size to have a district coordinator.
Oh, okay.
That person, it's a pretty intense 2-year training, and they're responsible for several schools. It would be something if our ESD decided to do it, maybe a school improvement person at the ESD level, and if Paisley and Northlake jumped on board, have that person be the district coordinator countywide. The building person, the building level administrator is going to be the one running the show in the building. So the district coordinator is kind of title only if we saw them a couple times and they could help us out. So that might be a deal breaker for getting it going next year, but we're still going to try. Building level training and travel. Due to the size of our district, we got a little break. In most districts have to send a team of 8. It's required. The training is pretty specific and pretty rigid. AVID doesn't let, they have training requirements that districts have to follow. For a district our size, we have to send 5 staff members, the building administrator, counselor, lead teacher, which would be the AVID elect teacher, and 2 subject area teachers. And that's what Mr. Hamilton was talking about. This is not just one class for 20 kids with one teacher. It's it's a school-wide culture, and that's why the subject area teachers are involved. Each of those people take a different training. When they go to the training, they don't all sit together. They have some team time, but the administrator would be in the administrator training, and the AVID elect teacher would be in the AVID elect training. So it's pretty intense training over a 3 or 4 day period. The training is required for 5 for the first year. After that first year, the AVID elect teacher has a 3-year requirement. Most districts send their same team, to the AVID training for 3 years. And they get a little different level of training each summer. So that's why I kept the figures the same. That would be my recommendation, that we have our AVID team commit to 3 years. The AVID library, it's a one-time purchase, and that's the curriculum. It would, when we get into the 9th graders, we would have to that would jump up a little bit. We'd have to spend a couple hundred more to get the 9 through 12 piece, but it's once again a one-time. The AVID membership is a yearly membership that gets you into the rights of the curriculum, the training. AVID tutors, like I said, that would vary. Eventually, if we wanted to go 7 through 12, and every Tuesday and Thursday we had tutors in the building, you could see as many as 12 tutors in our building on Tuesdays and Thursdays for a period. So depending on the schedule, you could use the same tutors. There's a lot of things we could do depending on the way the schedule fell. So you see the totals there. That is including the district coordinator training, which I explained. We're going to try to join High Desert Consortium, much like our CTE, with Ray Hazard coming down and serving us. We would try to use a person from that area. So you could conceivably take 9,000 and 6,000 and 15,000 off the top of those figures. Some of the resources that we've looked at was that consortium that I spoke of. We did find out that we received the tailings of we didn't get the Eastern Promise grant, but Mr. Nash informed us that our consortium with Lake, Klamath, Jackson, Josephine did receive some tailing. We don't know how much that's going to be, how much our pot of money is going to be, but we are going to receive a little bit of money this year that we could apply to the AVID. We have the MOU with the ESD for that PLT grant dollars. Like Mr. Hamilton said, this ties in nicely to Common Core, Senate Bill 290, a lot of those professional development dollars that we already have in our district to use. And this would be the focus of for the next 3 years, this would be our professional development. We would focus on AVID, much like Mr. Cahill has focused on the RTI. So that would take the bulk of our professional development dollars, and then, of course, I would budget for that accordingly through the LHS DNS budget for professional development and staff training.
So the $9,000 is if High Desert doesn't have a coordinator, or that's our percentage of that coordinator?
If we had to do our own district coordinator, that's what it would be.
Okay. The way you've explained it, there's every single incoming 7th grader would benefit from learning how to take notes and look you in the eye and get excited about school.
You know, there's a lot of students that have very influential parents that are very collegiate minded. That from the day they're born, they know they're going on to college. But you have a lot of families that aren't necessarily like-minded in that regard. This really helps those students that need guidance in that direction, prepares them academically, socially, career-minded to move off in that direction. And that's what we And so, when I saw this presentation, I immediately emailed Steve and I said, we've got to take a look at this. This is very impressive. And, there's enough dollars there between those 4 funding sources. I think we can cover what we need here to get this going, get it started. When the start date is, when we can find the district coordination level, I think that's still up in the air. Worst case scenario, it delays it for a year possibly.
We're also looking at, MODOC School District has AVID, if we could use their district coordinator. So if High Desert isn't ready for us, maybe somebody else is for a year.
I just talked with the MODOC superintendent, and they're in year 3 of implementation for AVID. And he said the very same story. He started with 1 classroom, and it spread, it's now school-wide, and he's sending 25 staff to this training over the summer, dumping a bunch of money into it because of the effect that what you gentlemen and Brandy saw in Idaho in terms of what it did to change that culture of that school.
Preliminary, we talked about Mr. Louis being our AVID elect teacher in year 1, with Mrs. Vandenberg and Mrs. Snyder as the subject area teachers.
I was gonna ask if, so there exists, you don't hire a new teacher?
No,
And then the membership goes up $200 every year,
yeah,
and in perpetuity?
well, they just have they had 3-year, they didn't,
Because that would be something we probably pay every year, correct?
yeah, I would hope that it caps.
And you're thinking Mr. Louis because the questions are often math, is that what you're thinking, or?
Well, it was, Mr. Louis was part of our team, and we were excited when we identified some of our staff to find out that 80% of these kids' homework questions deal with math. And the interview panel, to a person, they said, AVID has helped me with my math. I could have never passed math. I could have never taken advanced math. I could have never taken higher level math.
Because then they know how to take notes. And
They know how to, and they have that support.
So have you asked those 3 teachers?
Yes.
Okay, and then you sounded like you, with math and science, there's kind of connected to the STEM thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's so many tentacles involved with this, the STEM 40, 40, 20, the innovation learning center, higher ed, common core, state standards, smarter balance. I mean, you just go on down the line, and it fits, kind of like Brandy was talking about, it fits. We have a lot of the foundations already in place. This is kind of the glue that brings everything together and takes it to the next step. And I was so excited because I saw the potential, and now you're seeing the enthusiasm from these folks. It's impressive to see.
Does it take money away from other professional development that we might need for non-math and science teachers?
Well, we have some money. We talked about, we know we have to share that district wide, and how we would have to have other professional development opportunities left in there.
Right. Just in case something comes up that we have to,
Well, the thing
there's
about it
always
is,
things we have to train.
a lot of the questions revolve around the math and science, but that's definitely not, the note-taking in this wicker, this writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading, the writing that they do, and it's definitely not just gonna be a math science thing, it's around the,
Writing.
across the board,
Writing.
writing, higher level thinking.
Ruth Ann, have you ever done this Socratic circles seminars?
Get ready.
So it really, they talk about how to have the class discussions and Socratic seminars where they have the circle and the inner circle, and kids can feed them, they have a spokesman. And we've been interviewing language arts folks the past month, and a lot of them have some AVID training on their resume. A lot of them talk about these Socratic seminars as something that they use in their classroom, that they've liked from the training.
So when we have our trained team come back, then do they share that information? Like if Ruth Ann can't go, then
That's what I would,
share and,
my vision would be this team comes back in August, they spend a half a day with our staff, getting it going. It's gonna obviously start small, but that's, I think we need to have that team bring the training back to us.
One of the things that I really like to see at the building level is long-term, sustainable and systemic professional development and improvement. If you try and grab and get on every train and every vehicle that comes through your town in every different direction, you're so far spread in different directions that sometimes people have troubles understanding which direction we're heading. I think you're hearing from Mr. Proctor, this is a long-term commitment, and he would really feel that this would be something that would be driven for long-term, kind of like the RTI process with Mr. Cagle at the elementary level. Also, we had the same discussion with Mr. Proctor's predecessor, Mr. Nash, when he was a principal, in terms of the secondary literacy components and pieces that the staff are still continuing to keep going and to monitor. That's how you build systemic change into an organization, and I really see some strong potential here for this making a huge difference for not only our staff, but our students, and that's where it comes down.
All right.
And that, being the 8th year in the Boise district, they have the data to back it up. They have the data, they follow these kids. And even the first 2 years of college, they followed them. And they're in the process of compiling the data, following these kids into college, these AVID graduates. But they see these AVID kids taking advanced placement classes at high school and doing well.
I have no question.
it's like an awesome program.
My only concern would be the commitment that we need from the teachers, or whoever, the counselor, everybody that's gonna do it. That's a significant investment we're putting in them, and we wanna see the program continue to grow. We have to have some kind of commitment that they wanna stay and build that.
Absolutely.
Because if we had one leave, we'd have to start back over year one, correct? They want 3 years?
Well, the AVID elect teacher is the only one that really has to commit to the 3 years.
Okay. Oh, right, because you said that.
After the team of 5 goes, it's,
And it doesn't mean, I think that, like if your elect teacher happens to leave the district after a year or two, I don't think, it doesn't mean you reset and start over at year one again with another, I mean, you just have to have the new, and then they would go. It's not like you're back to square one with your AVID program if that happens.
Right, but they would have to go for it's a 3-year training cycle, they would start at 1, so we would have a year 4 training then, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, a AVID elect teacher has to be the one, yeah, so, so I don't think you have to.
well, my hope is the second year you take your same team and then a subject area teacher, take the AVID elect. So you build your elect teachers throughout the 3 years.
Just staggers.
Just want that continuity.
Yeah.
You don't wanna
Yeah.
go year 3 and then year 4, start over again, and,
Yeah.
hopefully whoever comes into
If
that
we
position
had
would
3
commit.
AVID trained teachers in a district, it would be unbelievable. Fairmont has 850 kids and they have 3 AVID elect teachers. But that's all they teach full-time, all day.
What's that do for us is this something that's being recognized by people that are looking for a job? If we have that as, we are an AVID district?
I had 3 people at the job fair we went to ask me if we had AVID. So I think, yeah.
It's big in the northern part of the state. Park Rose, Beaverton school districts are all AVID districts.
Salem.
It's made its way to Eugene. It really hasn't come this far south, but it's coming.
Except for MoDOT.
Well, it started in California about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
How
many years ago?
About 30 years ago in California, a teacher in Southern California.
1980,
Visit us.
San Diego.
So what do we need? We need an approval?
Yep.
What are we?
We're approving the, have a recommendation.
Implementation,
Pardon me?
the implementation.
Yes, yes, the board policy says any new curriculum that we bring has to be board approved.
I will make the motion that we accept the AVID implementation program as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the AVID implementation program as presented. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Excited?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks,
There's
guys.
enthusiasm building, it sounds like.
You'll let us know how it goes?
You bet.
Absolutely.
All right. 10-8 coaching approval and volunteer coaching approval.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to let Mr. Hamilton present this one.
Yeah, I'm just pleased to recommend Susie Larson as the head varsity volleyball coach for the upcoming season. Susie's been in the program, familiar with all the kids, I'm pretty excited. She's going to do a great job for us. And also Ann Kremrine, who's also been in the program as a volunteer assistant coach for the same year. Both ladies have done a tremendous job for us and familiar with our program, so.
Okay.
I'll move that we approve the coaching recommendations as presented by Mr. Hamilton.
So the motion's been made to approve the volunteer coaching recommendations. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Oh, what our certified staff hire approval.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to let Mr. Brock present this one.
Yeah, I am pleased to recommend Ms. Nicole Harris. I wish she was here tonight. Our interview committee has spent the last month interviewing candidates for K-12 music, and we're excited to have Nicole accept the position. We did this through a Skype interview. As you can see, Nicole lives in Interlochen, Michigan. So it was a very interesting process. All of our music applicants were all from out of state. We did not have one Oregon application.
Really?
Has she been to Lakeview?
No, but she's from
Never
Michigan,
heard.
that's colder.
But is it
Right,
small?
where's Interlochen?
She's a young, independent gal that did not hesitate, saying that she's looking forward to it, very excited. Wants to begin her teaching career in Lakeview, Oregon. Has a strong band, instrumental band, beginning band, all the way through high school band.
Okay, band camp,
Yeah.
been practicing.
Mr. Derry was on the interview committee, so we had strong music questions, and he did a little research on the music festival that she helps run every summer, and it's pretty prestigious in the state of Michigan. So we're excited to have her. And she's going to plan on making the trip in the first week of August.
This is a difficult position. Yeah, not much else to say about that. How do you think it's gonna work? I guess, is she gonna have enough support from?
I think, talk to Mr. Cahill and Mr. Derry enough, if we want to build our K-12 music program, we kind of need to put our money where our mouth is and support the person. We talked about, and the plans are to bring 6th grade band back, And so we have a feeder, we've lost that the last couple of years, but Mr. Cahill's gonna work that into the schedule, so we feel that's important, recruitment piece. You know, the recruitment and excitement, that was a big part of that was a big flavor of the interview questions, how, you know, we were impressed on how Nikki answered those, and some ways to recruit kids and get them excited about music. It was a big focus of our search.
How about the choir side?
Once again, her program at Eastern Michigan was very well-rounded. And I talked to her professors, and it's a K-12 music program, vocal and instrumental. So, very strong at both.
Maybe you can, if there's any needs that come up for either school, to let us know. If she needs, we want to keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, this is where we're hopeful that our musical superintendent can jam with the band.
we're in full support of it. I mean, it's very exciting. I'm delighted you found someone. We just want to make sure she has what she needs.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah,
elementary and if she needs an accompanist. I know
yeah, we've talked,
lots.
I spoke to Will about that.
Yeah.
so.
I don't know how, you never know, but that's great. Well, I move that we accept the recommendation for Nicole Harris as the K through 12 band choir teacher. That's a lot.
I'll second, yeah. I think it's fine. We need to make sure that we give her the help that she needs, because that's kind of a big position for
Yeah, and having Randy on the interview committee and I think Randy's support down there along with.
All right.
We brought back his FTE last year, that was the best thing we ever did, because 2 years ago, when Mr. Hill was here, we had him do everything, it was just too much.
So the motion's been made and seconded to approve the hiring of Nicole Harris as the K-12 music and choir teacher. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right.
One related comment, is our choir going to be applicably dressed at graduation this year?
There's probably enough.
We've met several times
Robes
with
for 'em all.
the teacher and feel like we have a good plan.
I hate to bring that up, but it's a little embarrassing.
1010, facilities improvement bond discussion and approval.
Yes, Mr. Chair. This kind of came about in our discussion with Mr. Anderson, Mr. Brock, Mr. Hamilton, as we started talking about soccer facilities. We started talking about facilities in general. This has been something that's been weighing on my mind for a long time. The board doesn't have to approve this tonight unless they feel moved to do so, but I think we really need to start the discussions. With the economic recession, it went a lot longer than I had ever anticipated, and the cuts went deep. And we have very, very aged buildings. And again, we're not just replacing doorknobs or putting paint on the walls, we're replacing infrastructure. And we're to the point that I really see we're beyond a crossroads in terms of staying up and keeping up with our facilities like they should be. We're way behind on roofing. I'm seeing buildings starting to fail in certain areas that's going to take considerable maintenance for. We're starting to look and emerge from this recession and dream of, additional facilities for like programs like soccer, or Mr. Hamilton just the other day just received notification on a, was a $700,000 grant to put in a turf soccer and football field structure, but the problem is it's gonna take $300,000 to $400,000 matching funds to do so. There's lots of opportunities there that I think that we need to really start thinking about going to the public for a bond measure. And we can structure it to where, in my mind, it would be maybe less than $1 per thousand of assessed value to keep the cost pretty low. But, a boost of 3 to 5 million that would go towards our facilities right now would go a long ways and help us to emerge out of this recession and basically lost ground. I'm very concerned about our facilities. As I travel the state, there are other school districts who, their facilities are much younger and they look 10 times worse than what we can even imagine. Our district has done an excellent job, a superb job keeping up our facilities. But bottom line, we're talking 1910, 1918, 1940s. Our youngest building is 1962. I think.
Only 50 years old?
Only 50 years. The average age of a school building in the state of Oregon is between 40 and 45 years. We have certainly surpassed that on a lot of scales, and I think we should all be proud of what our community and school district has done since the inception of these buildings. But I also feel that we're at the point where I think we need to start looking at some things. And so what I'm presenting you tonight is just simply this. I would like the board's permission, either tonight or at a later date, to start putting something together. To start prioritizing different projects that we need to look at throughout the district. Another example we were talking about was even the bleachers in our gymnasium. Our bleachers do not have walkways or stairwell rails. I've always seen people that are tripping over we're really concerned about liability there and injury. You have a gym roof leak and now you got problems with the floor. We had a leak on our newest gym, Union Elementary. Was it 2 years ago, Will?
Yeah.
And we got some flooring issues because of it, and we caught it pretty quickly. In fact, it was Brandy's husband, Tom that caught it. And, but still, when those things happen, damage can happen very, very quickly. And so I'm very concerned about the condition of our facilities as we move forward and as I look towards in the future. We're not at the point now to where we're like some of our constituents to the west that, things went to the point where it was a point of no return, where they couldn't do anything else but demolish and rebuild. We're not to that point. We're a long ways from that. But to try and avoid that, and I think to try and maintain being good stewards of our facilities, we've got to stay on top of it. And we're behind it.
So the motion tonight would be to give you permission to kind of move forward and get those ideas. Because I think what you discussed, the nobody here that was denied, those are all needs and going to the bonds and fighting with what. But when we do that, we want to be strategic and make sure that it's successful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time, energy, and investment that goes into that process. So this would be
just starting that plan. Starting the discussions, gathering the data, looking at prioritizing things, strategizing. There's an outfit that I've been in contact with that can help us in advisement for the bond and the voter approval process. I would highly recommend that we engage with when we're ready to get to that point. But like I said, it has to be strategic. I think you just go to the voters and say, want some money. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. But if you go to the voters with a plan, here's why, here's the data, here's what we're looking at, here's the needs of the district, I think you have an opportunity and a shot to get it passed.
Any other questions, discussion?
And this isn't going to happen overnight either, so don't expect.
Well, I thought, it was one of our goals.
It is related to our goals,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's something we talked about.
It's something we've talked about for quite some time. This is kind of taking it to the next step.
And with the long-range facilities
Yes, that would be built into all of this.
Entertain a motion. Who wants to make it?
What do you need?
Began to explore.
How do you want that motions?
Probably just somebody move that you give the superintendent permission to start putting together a facilities improvement plan and potential bond issue for the approved by the board. Does that sound about right?
So I don't have to repeat it again.
Did you write it down, Leanne?
Yes, I did.
She's got it.
I'll make that motion, let me note it down. Begin the exploration. My second time we should do that.
All right, the motion is that Leanne now has been made and seconded in regards to the moving forward with the facility plan. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, your motion carries. Moving on to announcements. OSBA Summer Board Conference in Bend.
Yeah, yes, July 18th to 20th. Luann has the registration information if any board members are interested. Just let her know and we'll go from there.
OSBA negotiations meeting.
Luann, you probably know more about that than I do.
Negotiations meeting, it was what you guys had already scheduled, it's just a reminder, it's May 19th.
6:30.
Rebecca and Daryl will be there at 6:15 for the pre-meeting. No, just negotiation.
We went to the- Graduation, the 31st.
3 o'clock p.m., right, gentlemen?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you probably want to get there around, what would you say, 2:30?
2:30 is nice, in the library.
Library?
Yeah.
Okay,
We'd like you to meet down there, make sure you're there.
all right. I'll do it. Okay, ILC grand opening discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we're still working through the final itinerary for June 12th. Definitely put it on your calendar. Tentatively, it's going to be probably a noon meeting for ILC leadership, moving into an Oregon Solutions meeting. Michael, man from Oregon Solutions in the state, will be here to facilitate that. Then we'll move directly into a public grand opening session to be held at the BMS South Wing Auditorium. And then there'll probably be some celebration and some speakers, and then probably some tours of the ILC that evening. Dr. Golden is going to have some time probably that Thursday morning and possibly into Friday morning. If there's time period, either Thursday morning or Friday morning, that the board would like to meet with her as a group. It's quite an opportunity to meet with the Chief Education Officer for the whole state of Oregon that is directly accountable to the governor. And great opportunity for you as a board to interact with her and just dialogue. If that is something of interest to you, I can build into the schedule. If it's not, or there's schedules just don't work, then we can look at other ways of occupying your time. And I have a list a mile long of options.
Okay. So we can get back together.
I'll need to know probably in the next week or so if this is something of interest. So tentatively, is it something of interest?
June 12th, is that a Wednesday?
Thursday.
Or Thursday, so it'd be the same day.
Yeah, the grand opening event is Thursday evening, so we're talking about Thursday morning or Friday.
Yeah, used to be.
Okay.
Yes, it's of interest.
Do you have a preference, Thursday morning, Friday morning?
School out, Brendan?
Yes,
School's out.
school's out.
Brendan.
Thursday morning, Friday morning?
I don't
Doesn't
think
matter?
I have a preference.
Okay, I'll build something in either one of those mornings, and I'll let you know time, and it'll be a great opportunity.
All right, thank you. Late items, board meeting, May 27th, discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chair, traditionally, we have not had a board meeting, the second meeting in May, unless we had budget discussions that I don't think we do at this point. We can certainly meet May 27th, That's the Tuesday right after the 3-day weekend, or we could table anything until first meeting in June. I talked with admin today, we don't really feel that we're gonna have any pressing issues for that meeting.
Oh, but I think we should just have a meeting, so you can show up.
Yeah, listen to you.
I always feel badly you guys sit through this meeting, they're long.
That'd be great.
No, we
All
don't.
right, go ahead.
No meeting.
Mr. Keith.
Okay.
No meeting.
No meeting talk, huh?
I know. I'm sorry.
We'll schedule a special meeting.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you can show up by yourself.
Okay.
12.2.
Yes, Mr. Chair, advanced math field trip chaperone itinerary approval, Mr. Brock.
Sorry.
As promised, list of chaperones and itinerary for Mrs. Vandenberg's trip.
Oh, man.
Plans are to leave the afternoon of the 15th, come back Saturday the 17th. She's got quite a couple days packed in there. She's worked in a tour of Intel and Nike, along with meeting with the different folks that she already had planned, the actuaries and insurance agents, and this is her 8th grade advanced math group that's been with her for 2 years, and they're really looking forward to this trip. And Millie's done a great job organizing it.
Mr. Brock, is this covered by enrichment?
Yeah, this is the middle school enrichment dollars.
All of us. How many kids are gone?
15 kids, 8 girls, 7 boys.
That's great. I move we approve the chaperone recommendations. As presented. Do I refrain from?
Yeah, you refrain.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded to approve the chaperone list for the advanced math.
Who was your second? Thank you.
All in favor?
Stephanie and Derek. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, good trip, have fun.
Yeah,
Enjoy there, Rebecca.
yeah, I will.
12.3.
Awesome.
Yes, Mr. Chair, just want to keep you up to date, I'm going to take one pass it down, on our ESD librarian consultant. They have signed a contract with Miss Linda Billieu out of Bend, Oregon. She's a retired school librarian from Bend Lapine School District. Comes highly recommended. She's got a master's in curriculum instruction as well as school library media. We met with her as an ESD superintendent group about a month or so ago, interviewed her, dialogued with her. She has a lot of great ideas, very progressive. And again, this is nothing, this is done in respect of our current existing library managers. But according to Division 22 standards, which is state law, we have to have a certified librarian in our library media programs, and we have not had that for quite a few years now. And so this is part of the buyback program that we bought back the 0.5 FTE of counseling. And this is part of that the ESD is now providing additional services for us. And so this is, she'll be on a contract retainer county-wide for all of the school districts in Lake County. I can't remember how many days we purchased of her. It's like 12 to 15 days or so over the course of the school year. If you look at this document, thank you, Mr. Gallagher, but this is basically worth 50 pages of documentation. I narrowed it down to what you have in your hand. I'm trying to just give you the very nitty-gritty. There's new standards for librarians in the state of Oregon and library services, and it revolves around the 4 strands. information literacy, reading engagement, social responsibility, and technology integration. That one is in a nutshell where the library curriculum is going. Ms. Bilyeu was a big part of the development of this curriculum. And as you read through it, a lot of the research I've been doing as part of my doctoral program directly aligns to what you're seeing in this curriculum. Students have a huge need of being able to use search engines on the internet appropriately. And know, if you want to find information, just don't Google it, like everybody likes to think. There's more to the information search engines. Also in terms of reading comprehension, technology integration, how are you using PowerPoints, iPads for presentations, dissemination of information. You can read through all of this on your own time. This kind of gives you a good flavor of what Ms. Bilyeu is all about, and this is what she's been bringing to the table for us. And so I'm really, really excited about this. And she's going to want to meet with building principals and our library managers the end of this month to get things started, because she wants to try and start working on some analysis and some consultation stuff over the summer, and then be here throughout the school year next year. When I can coordinate her schedule with board meeting, I'll definitely have her attend one and introduce her to you, but I think you'd be very impressed.
Seems like we'll be covered for what, about 20?
About 12 to 15 days is what we,
For the school year.
for the whole school year.
So she would basically develop relations with our current library staff.
Yes.
To
Yes,
guide these
to
programs.
guide, yes, to guide, oversee, develop any curriculum that needs to be taught, because by state law, you have to have a certified teacher develop a curriculum. She'll be looking at our plan for statements, she'll be looking at board policies, technology plan, there's been a whole bunch of stuff she's gonna be looking at and consulting on, so pretty excited about it. Pretty cool stuff.
Go forward.
Last one is seismic plaque placement. I think somebody was asking about that plaque the other day. We just got it delivered to the district office today. It's about 18 by 24. Looks like a plaque. And so I think Mr. Getty's question is where to have it placed. Is that correct?
Yeah, either the left side of the main entrance or the right side of the main entrance.
There's your decision
That's
for the
gonna be
day.
your toughest decision.
We have to have this plaque too, it was part of the condition of the $1 million and $1.
Yeah.
So it's.
It's beautiful.
All right.
Which?
Where would you recommend we put it, Mr. Anderson?
North.
Main.
I guess it won't fit.
No, there's already, I think there's already a sign up there. Don't fit.
Yeah.
Wherever you feel best. Yeah. I think maybe you could pick that as
The
a
right,
retirement.
the right is the
Go
good
your way.
thing.
I'll help Mr. Getty choose the spot if you guys don't have any preference. How's that?
Wherever you think it looks good.
Okay. And then, Mr. Anderson, we're gonna need your help to take a picture of it. And then email it to the state so I can get my money.
We can handle that.
And I'd like to have Mr. Anderson, Mr. Gallagher, and as many board members as possible for the picture tape, if you can make. We'll
Oh,
give you a call once it's installed.
installed and then we get a picture and
Yeah, we
then
do
that's
that.
it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
Because all your names are on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
School board, there you go.
Yes, you have your name, plaque.
There we go. Great perpetuity.
All right. That concludes our late items, I assume. I think that's all I had listed.
Yes,
So,
Mr. Chair.
next board meeting agenda items, we have one addition, I believe.
Yes, there's a board policy on building use fees.
Yes.
You know officially from the board if that's, if you'd like to reevaluate that policy. And we can certainly bring that to you.
Yeah. I think the next meeting we can review that.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Well, with that, we are adjourned.
Thanks, you guys. Thank you.